Welcome to the CBS Eye on Money show. It is Thursday, December 9th. Mark, what would you like to say to me today?
I wish Theo was here because he loves to sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jill. Happy birthday to you.
Can you send me a Theo singing me happy birthday?
He loves it. And then I say, what do you do after that? Yeah, what do you do after you sing, Theo? He goes,
oh,
like
blowing out the candles.
Candle.
I
Yeah.
love that. Mark, guess what my very favorite birthday cake is?
Fudgy the Whale.
Very close. Yes, of course it's a Carvel cake, but not Fudgy the Whale, but any Carvel cake. Carvel birthday cake. You can keep your fancy cakes, everybody. Carvel, thank you. Thank you very much. Send me your Carvel cakes. Mark, I'm old and I'm very happy to be here. And I never, ever stress about birthdays.
Me either.
Never. I am mostly just delighted that I've made it. You know, there is this weird thing, because my mother-in-law is so old. She's 98. And my father died pretty young, 76. So, it's like I have this frame of reference, like a good portion of my life could be over, and yet I could have a long life ahead. So I'm in a great place. I am so happy to be here on my birthday. Mark and I have talked about this. We are not the types of people who take our birthday off.
No.
To celebrate my birthday, this is what we're going to do. We are going to answer your financial questions. And so if you have any sort of financial, money, tax planning, year-end, education, any kind of question that's been percolating in your brain, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com. You know what I'm very excited for later today, Mark, is the unveiling of the new Jill on Money website to me. I get a preview. Do you think I'm going to like it or not? Are you worried?
Oh, yeah. I'm not. Yeah. No worries at all. It's actually good timing. That's your birthday gift.
It's my birthday gift to myself. I paid a lot of money to get this birthday gift.
That's true. It's birthday gift to yourself.
Exactly. So today we are talking to Will from Kentucky. Will, I can tell you if you need to send me that bourbon, because you're a Kentucky guy, Mark will give you the address when we're done, for my birthday and all.
I am thrilled to join you on your birthday. What a special day to be on. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So, Will, tell us what your favorite Kentucky bourbon is.
Oh, that's tough. There's been so much
Don't piss off anybody who could be listening either.
I know. There's been so much growth in the bourbon industry over the last decade. It's hard to keep up, but I am partial to anything that comes out of the Buffalo Trace distillery. So that's,
I knew you were going to say that.
Eagle Rare, the Blantons, anything of the Weller family, of course, the Van Winkle line, all of those are from Buffalo Trace, which is a great local distillery.
Do you think that most people can tell the difference between Eagle Rare and Blantons or not?
Most people, I would say no. I would say people around where I live, potentially.
We are bourbon scotch drinkers at this time of year, so we're very happy. And Irish whiskey. I don't want to leave them out either. All right.
Well, during the pandemic, I mailed my buddies 5 samples of different bourbons, and we did a blind virtual tasting as a way to pass the time one Saturday night.
And what did you find?
I think the best bourbon we had there was actually a Weller Special Reserve, so their green label Weller, which was good.
Mark, are you taking notes?
Will knows his stuff, that's for sure.
That's it. I like it. Weller Special Reserve. I just wrote it down. When did I send you all that booze during the pandemic? Remember you couldn't get booze, Mark? It was early-ish, like spring, summer?
Yeah. Early summer 2020.
Early summer 2020. He's like, he couldn't get to the liquor store. They were running out. So I sent you like 6 bottles of booze?
So several bottles, yeah.
Several bottles. I went nuts because I said, you're going to be stuck in a small-ish apartment with a baby and a spouse. You need some booze. Okay. Will, what can we do for you today?
Yeah, well, I'm calling because my wife and I feel like we're in a healthy financial place. We think we're doing most of the right things. And so we're planning for what comes next after we achieve, these milestones that we hear about so often on your program. We both work long hours, and we know that that's not what we want to do forever.
What do you mean by long hours? Let's define that. When you say we work long hours, first of all, what do you guys do?
So my wife works for an energy technology company out of Texas. So she is remote here in Kentucky, and I work for a national education nonprofit. So we're both remote, which creates that added challenge of we're always in our office, because our home is our office, right? And so we do a pretty good job setting boundaries and having limits. but we still work long hours. And so my wife supports a global HR workforce. And so she'll have to take calls at 10 p.m., or at 6 a.m. And so that's what I mean by some days can be really long.
Right, because she's like always on call, and I have that also with my spouse. It's like, I got to do a call with Asia. So she's like on the phone at 8 o'clock at night, and you're like, oh, brother.
Exactly.
So how much do each of you make?
So we make about $320,000 a year.
That's got to go a long way in Kentucky.
It does, and we're very lucky and fortunate to be in the financial place that we're in.
How old are you, Will?
So I'm 38, and my wife is 37.
Kids?
No kids and no plan for kids.
Ooh, this could make your desire to reduce your hours much more achievable. The $320 a year, do you guys max out your retirement accounts?
We do.
Okay. How much money is in each of your 401ks? Or do you have a 403b or 457?
I have a 401k now.
Okay.
But we have so total retirement savings is about $930,000. And of that, about $820,000 is in traditional 401ks.
Yep.
And about $110,000 is in Roth.
Got it. What about other savings? Do you have in emergency reserves? How much do you have? I presume you have emergency reserves.
We do, yeah. We have about $85,000 in our brokerage account that we treat as emergency reserve, and we add $1,000 a month to that. My goal is to get that up to about $120,000 and then do something else with that $1,000 a month. So we're a couple of years away from that.
But you have a brokerage account, but it's not invested, is what you're saying.
It's invested in some low risk funds.
Like what?
Oh, I would have to give you the stock symbols.
I mean, like you're investing, in other words, you have some stocks, but it's still, you're considering it your emergency reserve. Or are you telling me that the 85 is in money market and the extra money you're going to put in stuff?
Yes, the 85 is in different money markets. So it fluctuates with the market, but not as severely as the market swings.
I don't know why Mark, are you hearing what I'm hearing in this? The emergency reserve money is actually at risk.
Well, it is. I mean, I'm never a fan of that.
No, we're not fans of that, Will. I really like when you have an emergency reserve fund that is very boring. How much money do you guys spend in a year? Like, what's your actual expense number?
Probably close to $150,000.
You spend $150,000 a year?
I mean, we travel. We have nieces and nephews we like to spoil.
Wait a minute. Forget about that for a second. Hold on a second. I'm saying on this $320,000 a year. I'm not including your retirement. I'm not including big gifts to your nieces and nephews. Like, what does it cost for you to live your life? Put the travel in, but don't put in the gifts to the nieces and nephews.
Oh, that's probably like less than 100.
All right. So let's say 100, just cause. All right. Mark and I are going to tell you to do something. I know you're not going to do it. So I'm just going to tell you to do it. You really should not have your 100. You should not have the money in the brokerage account that is your emergency reserve, like the actual $100,000, the 6 or 12 months. So 50 to $100,000 should be in money market, should not be invested. Now I've said my piece. You're going to do what you want. Okay, let's move on. So we're going to get you to your 120. Any other money that's invested right now besides the 820 traditional, 110 Roth, 85 in the brokerage?
We've got a robo-advised fund that has about $66,000 in it. So that's where we've been throwing, extra cash each month. It's where we save. We like to buy cars with cash. So it's where we save to buy cars.
Okay. How about your house? Tell me about the living situation.
So we own, the house is worth probably about $450 in this market. We've got a 15-year loan for about $300,000 outstanding at 2.25%.
When you now look ahead, the goal, when do you want to try to reduce the hours? When do you really think in your mind is like, we can do this for so much longer? And then when is that time?
I think realistically, we can start to cut back at 50.
Okay.
Take a bigger step back at, 55 or 58.
Because you're in the nonprofit world, I'm just wondering, will you be entitled to any pension benefit?
No pension at all. Everything that we will receive is through our own retirement accounts.
Okay. So you got $1 million. Okay. And notice how I just got rid of your that brokerage account, how that went away for me. And you're saving a lot, right? You are saving in addition to your 401k. So that's 40. There's probably 50 or 60 grand a year that you're saving. Is that fair to say total?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that in this period of time that your incomes will rise precipitously or stay pretty much the same?
I think we have averaged between 7 and 10% increases, both
Wow.
because of natural increases and then also
Mm-hmm.
because of job changes. I think my wife has a lot more potential than I do, just given the sector she's in, and also because she's become a bit of an equity partner for her company.
I like a bit of an equity partner.
It's a big company, so I like to keep her in check.
I like that. That's good. That's great. So let's say that, essentially, I'm just going to do this. Let's say that you're going to save 60 grand a year for the next 12 years. Okay. So that's just 720,000 right there. Okay. And then, you have the $1 million saved. So that will also increase, right? Presumably, I don't know how much time is left on your 15-year mortgage. Is that almost, I mean, when
It's
did you get that?
We did it last October, so we've got 14 years left.
Okay. So, I mean, like you're pretty much on track. Like even and weirdly, your expenses will go down around that same time. Mark, how much should we grow his $1 million at right now? What do you think?
Yeah, I just did it. I always use 6%, and it's roughly 3 million.
That he'll have 3 million.
Yeah, in 12 years, give or take.
It's a pretty good number. You feel good about that, Will?
Yeah, I like how you all do math.
Yeah, fast. So, I mean, obviously your expenses will go up because of inflation, but that's pretty good. What do you think when we talk about like at age 50, let's say 50 to 55, what's the step back? If you're making 320 now, what do you think happens at age 55?
I don't know about money, but I think time I would love to, decrease by a quarter to a third.
So would it be fair to say that you think even from 50 to 55 for you guys, I'm not going to say one or the other, should we reduce your income at that time by like from 320 in today's dollars to like half, 160?
Yeah, I think we wouldn't cut it that much, but I like that conservative approach for planning.
I think this plan is going to be a great plan for you guys. If you're willing to step back at age 50 to 55 and you have half as much income, the most important thing that I am considering in those 5 years is that you A, have health insurance, which would be very good for you guys, right? B, that you might not save as much money. You don't have to be under the gun to have the $50,000 or $60,000 in savings, but maybe it would be half that. Maybe you'd still be able to, because essentially by the time you're 55, you will not have a mortgage payment. You will be able to save some money. Do you envision being fully retired at 55?
I don't think so. I think it's hard for me to imagine a world where I'm not doing something even 10 hours a week. And it's also just nice to have that cash flow at that age as well, even if it's a small amount.
Mark, I feel like this plan works for Will and his wife. What do you think?
This is back-to-back calls on this show this week. Two callers looking to do similar things. And I think in both cases, it works.
I'm just going to, again, come out of the closet and say, this is something that is not in my brain the way that I was brought up and sort of like the system under which I had my work career. So I feel like I have always reacted against this. And now I'm really trying to embrace the fact that I think you guys are onto something. My generation and older might be a bit of idiots in that, oh, I have to work till I'm this, and this. I like the idea that you are creating all these opportunities for yourselves. You're saving a lot of money. You make a lot of money and you save a lot of money and you can indulge the nieces and nephews. But I'm really encouraged by this idea that you're saying, hey, you know what? Life shouldn't just be about, working 18 hours a day. And I need to embrace that a little bit more. And I'm learning that more and more from our audience. So this week would be our Southern boys are helping us out. It was John in Atlanta on Tuesday and now Will in Kentucky. And I'm interested, Will, just to understand a little bit more about you and your wife. I mean, do you have family that's around you guys? Is there any pushback? Have you shared this plan with others? And do you find that old farts like me, now into the second half of this decade of the 50s, do you find that we have outdated notions of work?
I think on one side of our family, absolutely. But on the other, they are fully retired at, 60 years old, and they travel whenever and wherever they want. And I think that's
Mm.
what we're aspiring for. We say to each other a lot, there's a lot of world to see, and we
Yeah.
want to see it. But I do think, I'll never forget my dad lectured me once when I gave notice at a job I was leaving. It was a senior level position, and I gave 6 months notice that I was leaving. And he just could not believe that I would do that without a plan. And so we do get a little bit of questions, and then also a little bit of side eye. Like, even the work from home is like, people in our families who are older cock their head and be like, what do you mean you work from home? And so there's still some getting used to it, I think, in the family.
It's funny, Joe, because when I left CBS, same
Yeah.
thing from my parents. They could not wrap their heads around the fact that I was leaving what they thought was this perfect job. They thought I was making a huge mistake.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think things have worked out pretty well.
That's so far so good for you, Mark. But, if I drop dead tomorrow, then you're going to have to go get a job again.
Well, don't forget, we're getting this promotion.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So listen, I think this is a great game plan, Will. I really do. I think a lot of times when you guys are thinking about these things, having the freedom of saying, you know what, I want to know that I could do it. And oftentimes you get to that place, and just having that knowledge can make you work better. I think
Yeah.
that employees are much better employees knowing they don't have to be there. I'm gung-ho on this. I'm feeling good. I'm
Good.
feeling good about it. I hope you are, Will.
I am feeling good. I think the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause is all of our passive income generation is in the market. And even though it's diversified within the market, we do wonder, should we have some real estate holdings? Should we have other things that produce income outside of the market?
I feel like you're going to be very happy to have the liquidity. If all of a sudden you've got more money than we really think, that we're being so conservative that in 5 years you're like, you know what? We just stumbled upon this house. It's a great idea. Maybe we could do it. Sure. But I think it would not be my number one goal to pull the liquidity from the financial markets. I mean, you can get a lot of diversification in those financial markets. You can own REITs, you can own stocks, you can own bonds, you can own commodities or crypto or whatever you want. I mean, I know that everyone really digs this idea of like, oh, I want passive income, but passive income requires you pulling money out of that portfolio and using up that precious liquidity, which is all the more important, especially if you're going to be cutting back and needing access to your money before age 59 and a half. And so, I mean, yeah, sure. If you stumbled upon something, if it's like, oh my God, it's 5 years from now and the real estate market cratered and you're sitting on top of cash and you're like, hey, you know what? We could just do this. Fine. But I wouldn't go nuts trying to do it. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mark, anything else from your end?
No, just a couple of bottles of bourbon. That's about it.
I know, right? Mark will be in touch with you about our address. Thanks for joining me for my birthday show. I really appreciate it, Will.
I will raise a glass of bourbon tonight and toast to you, and I hope you have a great year ahead.
Me too. God bless. All right. If you, like Will, have some questions, you want to think about how to change your work-life balance, all you need to do is go to jillonmoney.com and click the contact button, and we'll get your note. And while you're on that website, you can also subscribe to our sister broadcast called Jill on Money. It's very easy. It's right there on the website. So please do that. And I want to thank you so much for listening. Mark Talercio is the co-host and executive producer. We are distributed by Viacom CBS. We drop episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. And we always like to remind you to please do something nice for someone else today. You can go leave me a birthday greeting. I don't really need it. I got plenty of birthday greetings. Curiosity, compassion, community. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.